So, as we're in the process of reassembling these 300-year-old books here, it's worth doing a short video just on headbands and tailbands. So these are the little devices which you'll typically see at the top and tail of a spine, often made of cloth, sometimes, as you can see here, of some kind of twine or string. I want to just talk a little bit about the history of them, because really they're a story in fakeness for most of the history of bookmaking, so it's probably just worth bringing that out. So we'll start the journey with one of my wife's modern volumes. It's the Source Field Investigations, the 2012 Prophecies. You can see here the headband at the top, sort of nice, very nice blue and yellow. Same thing at the bottom, sort of tucked away there a little bit. For decorative purposes only. It serves no structural purpose whatsoever for the book. It just makes the book look nice. So that's what modern books are like. Go back 100 years. This is one of my Oscar Wilde collection. This is about 100 years old. Broadly the same thing. This headband here is completely fake. It's nothing whatsoever to do with the structure of the book. At the bottom they didn't even bother to put a headband in, just as they didn't bother to cut or open the pages properly. They reserved the gill just for the top. The idea being potentially that you would take this to a bindery and have it rebound. But anyway, so very much for decorative purposes, only 100 years ago as well. Now let's go back 200 years. This is a Peroni Predilectiones Theologicae. This is an 1839 volume. You'll see here the headband is sort of red and yellow, looks very attractive, but once again, completely decorative, completely fake, serves no purpose. 300 years ago, that takes us back to the books we're restoring right now. The headbands you can see here are often made of a string or twine that's been around a little bit of stick, basically, but it's only held in place by 2 or 3 threads. Again, decorative purposes only. So 300 years ago, the headbands were there just for decorative purposes, serving no structural importance whatsoever. The youngest book in my collection that has an example of structural headbands is this one. This book was written in 1644. It's a translation into French of Aristotle's Ethics by a guy called Catel in Toulouse, France. And if we look closely, look at the bottom, it's probably the easiest. There's the way in which vellum binding was often done, where there were these ties, one in each corner and several up the spine. And you can see one there, and it loops around, and the string from each of the gatherings, the quires of folios, is wrapped around the headband and then tied back. So that's the youngest example I have of a structural use for the headband. And if you want a really industrial example of headbands, let's look at this volume. So this volume is from 1601, and here you can see a really industrial, tightly well put together, serious headband. This is critical to the structure of the book. If the book were to lose this and this book would be in a great deal of trouble structurally. So you have to go back nearly 400 years to get to the point where headbands and tailbands serve any structural purpose in bookbinding. Ever since then, they are decorative.